Okay, so for the final video in this series, we're going to look at carrying out an oil change on this mower. So I use, this is a pedestrian mower. This is about a year old, this machine, and this is a Viking mower. It's a self-propelled mower with a collector box. We can use it to, these are for some of the smaller lawns that we do. And it can be used to collect the grass, or we can fly the grass. So we're going to sort of look at carrying out an oil change. So this is a 4-stroke engine, okay, which means it has a separate oil sump from the fuel tank. Okay, the previous tools that we were working on were 2-stroke, which means that we mixed the fuel separately. And that's a mixture of 2-stroke oil and petrol. So this is a 4-stroke engine, and so it has its own separate oil sump. So prior to doing this oil change, we've actually started and run the engine. So the engine oil needs to be hot. Okay, don't attempt to change the engine oil when it's cold. So we've run this machine up for about 5 minutes, so it'll be at a good operating temperature, and now we're ready to drain the oil out. And with this particular pedestrian mower, it doesn't actually have a drain plug as such on the engine. So what we do, okay Dave, if you'd like to make a start, is actually we remove the engine oil dipstick, and you can see David's just removed that. Okay, and he's just going to clean that off and put that somewhere safe so it doesn't get bent, because that is our guide. Okay, and now what we're going to do, you can see on the floor here in my garage, I've got just an old tray, okay, and I've placed this in the correct position so that when we tip the mower over on its side, okay David, carry on, and the oil is going to come out of the, and you can see that coming out now. All right, and so we've got this tray. I'm just going to move it. Oh, look, that's it. Almost had a spillage. Now, obviously, it's best practice to actually have some sand or something to soak up any spillages in your workshop. You should have that there to contain a spillage. Anyway, we're okay, but it's important to place this tray in the right place, and you can see now that the oil is draining out of the filler cap, which we normally top up the oil. It comes out the same way, and you can actually see that it's actually sort of quite black. And the reason we start the engine is because it does warm the oil up, and it does mean that, as you know, once the oil warms up, the viscosity of the oil allows it to run. The oil, the engine oil is made to operate at temperatures. Okay, so it's important that as part of the process, you do make sure that you select the correct oil for refilling. Okay, so it's still dripping out a little bit. It's almost come to a stop. Okay, so let's turn the machine back up onto the standing position. Okay. So that's good. So we're now going to pick the tray up off the floor, and you can actually see that the oil is black. David's just now cleaning around the top of the dipstick housing, any debris. We don't want anything going back in. Okay, and we're just going to remove the oil out of the way. And if you put it up in the light, actually hold it over the light, you can actually see that it's quite black actually. It's ready for a change. Okay, so the next thing is, what we have here is, you will note that it's a Viking mower, and so I buy the recommended Viking engine oil, which is an SA30. Alright, so it's important, and you'll find out the information for things like oil specifications in your operator's handbook. Okay. Alright, so what we need to do is we now need to refill, and in the operator's handbook it will tell you how much that sump holds. So that's one way of doing it. So normally, from experience, because we've done this before, We normally take half. That is about a litre. David, is it on the bottle there? That's a litre bottle.
It is 400 mils or 450 mils.
450 mils. Okay. All right. So what we'll do is we're going to start applying the oil by carefully tipping it in. We don't want to spill it everywhere. We could use a funnel. Good practice is to have a bit of rag, and you can put a bit of rag underneath it. So David's just pouring in the oil. We get about halfway, and then we're going to let that settle, and then we'll get the dipstick. David's just going to have a quick wipe round. There's no spillages. Just keep it at, that's fine. And we'll get the dipstick now, and we will